What about the strategy of hiring writers from outside of comics that have a great deal of controversy? Does that work? Does it translate to sales? Going to go into that. Hey there, this is Perch. It's 2019, and if I'm saying, what about the wisdom of hiring writers who are controversial to write your books, I'm probably talking about Zoe Quinn. Zoe Quinn is, I'm not all up to speed. I've got the Cliff Notes version of Gamergate, so I'm not going to go into all of that. But Zoe Quinn is let's call her an online personality who's known for being a little bit more aggressive in her approach. I think, is that fair to say? Whether you're yeah, pro Zoe Quinn or anti Zoe Quinn, I think it's she's got a lot of controversy that surrounds her, and and the controversy typically amounts to she's a bad person. No, she's not, and that's kind of where it sits. And then there's a lot of background behind that. Anyway, Zoe Quinn wrote a series for DC called Goddess Mode. It was for Vertigo actually, and it was just kind of there. It's not it wasn't good. It wasn't well. It was actually kind of bad. But I mean, again, there's comics for everybody, but it was not memorable. Let's say it was just kind of it was a story that had been told before, like a lot before, and I think that's kind of where from my view, and at least the people who bought the book or stopped buying the book, it was like I've read all this before. That's a problem. That was kind of the big negative review that wasn't negative because she was Zoe Quinn. A lot of people hated the book because it was Zoe Quinn, but more people just didn't really care for the book because it wasn't an interesting book. And then she went and did a Marvel. I think she did a Marvel story or a little short story within the Fearless, the anthology where women, all female creators, did stories for female heroes. So there was that, and she did a little story there, and then she came back to DC to do a comic spinning out of the Batman Superman, Batman Who Laughs, the Infected. I think she's doing Donna Troy, who's been infected, and a lot of people are angry about this. What's weird to me is a little bit the people got really angry when she got the Batman Superman book. It was people. There was a lot of kind of you're dumb for Vertigo. Her detractors didn't like her Vertigo book. Were upset with Vertigo for hiring her, but just kind of like, yeah, you guys are dumb. And then she did the short story in the Marvel book, and it felt like people just kind of, I don't want to say rolled their eyes, but it was like, all right, there wasn't a lot of oh, she's got a Marvel book. And then she was announced she was going to do this Batman Superman story and got people really mad. And I'm not sure why the third one triggered it, other than now she's writing kind of except she's going to be writing Donna Troy. I don't know if she's writing Batman or Superman, but she's writing something kind of related to one of the two characters. Maybe the same kind of outrage of a Zoe Quinn Spider-Man. I don't know, maybe. But DC Comics, you gotta kind of put your head into the publisher's head. What are they thinking? Why did they hire Zoe Quinn? Is it because she is an amazing writer? Well, probably not, because she doesn't have enough work for you to make that call one way or another. She's not an amazing writer. She's a personality who's known. We'll get to that in a second, but she doesn't have this big library of work. It's not like it's we're going to hire Tom Clancy to write this comic. You're like, okay, well, that guy's a writer, so, or it'd be like if, J.K. Rowling comes in to do a comic, everybody would be like, okay, well, clearly, she's famous, everybody knows her name, so they're wanting to build off that, but also she's a best-selling author and has a big pedigree, and, in theory, she writes good books. It's what Marvel was thinking when they had Stephen King come in and do kind of a page or 2 pages for oh God, what was the name of that? It was an X-Men issue, and it was to benefit World Hunger. It was like Feast. It wasn't Feast or Famine, but it was something like that. But anyway, it's an X-Men book. Had a really amazing Art Adams cover that got reprinted all over the place. But that was what they were thinking with Stephen King. It's like, let's bring in a big name and we'll attach his name to it. It's for a good cause, and some people bought it for that reason. The Zoe Quinn doesn't have that, and so then the next one is, well, is Zoe Quinn a major selling force within comics? And the answer is no. Goddess Mode did not sell really anything, and the Marvel story isn't out yet, and so there's no, and it won't sell big numbers anyway because the first issue didn't sell big, so the subsequent issues are not going to sell big. So then it gets down to kind of the last one, which is, well, they're hiring her for some name recognition value and some controversy value, that the her name will bring people to the table because they'll want to see, oh, what's that? What does the Zoe Quinn story look like? And so the question is, does this pay off for publishers? If you're a publisher and you're hiring any kind of, if you're doing anything and you're bringing in a controversial actor or writer or performer or whatever it might be, and this happens all the time. It's kind of the basis behind a lot of reality TV where they bring in some, break the internet star or somebody who's maybe a really offensive person in real life, and that kind of the background behind The Apprentice was that way, where they got this guy, you might have heard of him, this Donald Trump guy, and then they had these contestants that were celebrities. The Celebrity Apprentice, I should say. And there's always like three or four of the celebrities, or maybe just a couple were just real jerks, like just borderline, terrible people. And I think the way our culture is going, you're going to see like Dancing with the Stars, felons, and then he's like, how will this arsonist hold up against this rapist? Let's see tonight. That's probably, hopefully not, but I could see it. Anyway, so generally speaking, you bring on somebody controversial, you get some buzz, especially for TV. It worked out pretty well because it's like, well, is this crazy jerk going to be a crazy jerk on TV, and we're going to get new crazy jerk moments? So you're wondering about that. But comics is not really the same. Comics doesn't work that way because at the end of the day, this isn't Zoe Quinn the comic by Zoe Quinn. It's Zoe Quinn writing Donna Troy, and so if you close your eyes and you just read the story, you're not going to know Zoe Quinn had anything to do with it. You're just, again, going off of Goddess Mode, she doesn't have a distinctive writing style. She's not like, you can pick up any book written by Bendis and you'd be like, okay, this is by Bendis. You can't pick up a Zoe Quinn title and go, oh, well, this is clearly Zoe Quinn. She just doesn't have enough work under her belt, and she doesn't write in a super, distinctive way that you would immediately notice it. So that controversy angle, the only real buzz of controversy you're getting is on the front cover. You're going to get, Batman, Superman, and then you're going to see Zoe Quinn's name on there. But maybe you won't because, you're in a comic shop and it's kind of lower down on the cover, and, maybe not even see it on the stand. A lot of people, I suspect, will have that comic in their bag on the way home long before they ever realize Zoe Quinn wrote it. And, another good portion of the audience won't even know who that person is anyway. It's just going to be like, I bought this comic and there was no Superman in it, but it said Superman at the top, and I'm pissed. That's probably going to be the most common reaction. So I don't think controversial writers or creators going onto a title really does much. Now, I mean, I'm sure that you could go far enough. I don't think Zoe Quinn is just important enough as a controversial figure to really make it work. But if you had like O.J. Simpson writes Miss Marvel, then yeah, you're probably getting some attention off that, or um, I don't know who else. I'm now, who's a big name? I mean, it's the X-Men by the Kardashians. I mean, I don't know. That might do something. I'm really kind of, now that I'm thinking about it though, my mind is really spinning with this O.J. Simpson's Miss Marvel book. I kind of want to see that. I'm just curious. What does that look like? Um, Anyway, so I don't think it pays off. There's never been any real evidence when kind of comic companies have flirted with this stuff that hiring anybody, celebrity or anything, really pays off. And controversial characters, controversial creators, it doesn't really go anywhere. Never really has. There's not been a big benefit to doing that. But people keep doing it. It's curious on just Zoe Quinn in particular. it's always a little weird in comics, and I think this is just the nature of comics in 2019. I don't think this is the way it's going to be in 2022, and it wasn't the way it was in 2002. But you'll see these kind of new people appear on the scene who have really no comic writing experience, or they're maybe some indie writing experience, but nothing major. And then within the span of like 6 months, they're writing for four different publishers. They've got a Marvel book, a DC book, a Dark Horse book, an Image book, and you kind of squint and you're like, what? How did this happen? How did this person go from zero exposure, zero anything, and then suddenly able to kind of cross the lines at all the publishers within like a 6 month span? That's a pretty impressive feat. I think a lot of really established comic pros are not able to pull that off. So that's pretty impressive. And it's kind of that's indicative we're seeing of a very small, very shallow network that exists within comics. It's just kind of recycling and regurgitating some of the same people. But I think that goes away soon. I think we are going to go back to more tribal um, rosters of creators where you've got some DC people, you have some Marvel people, and you have a lot less bouncing between the two. I think that's in our future, as I think some things will change. But anyway, I don't know. What do you think? Does controversy do it for you? If you see a controversial real life personality writing a comic book, do you care? Or do you get mad? Are you mad that Zoe Quinn's writing this book? Are you glad? It's like finally Zoe Quinn writing Donna Troy. This is what I've been waiting for the last 12 days. This is what I've been waiting for. Maybe. I mean, I'd like to hear that perspective. Or are you just more kind of down the middle, like, yeah, I don't care. I don't, evil Donald Troy, Donald, evil Donald Troy. Thanks, Trump. You messed me up again. Anyway, evil Donna Troy. I think we got that in the last Wonder Woman run, didn't we? I think we've seen that. Or was that? Yeah, whatever. Um, leave me a comment below. Let me know what you think. Like, subscribe, click the bell for notifications, tell a friend, give me a suggestion. I'll talk about what you want me to talk about. Follow me on Twitter at Comic Perch, and thanks for listening.